Hello everyone, my name is Bhante Wade Bhuripañño here at Empty Cloud Monastery in West Orange, New Jersey, in the United States. Here it is just slightly after 7:30 p.m. in the evening, and I'm joined by one of our lay guests here who is staying at the monastery to live by the monastery schedule and deepen his practice with some greater access to the teachers here. And Bhante Sudaso has put this in as a guided meditation this evening. So we'll be doing a guided meditation starting shortly. Perhaps I'll introduce myself briefly a little bit more. My name, as I said, is Bhante Wade Bhuripañño, and I ordained as a bhikkhu, a monk, in Thailand in 2014 at Wat Mapchan in Rayong province. Wat Mapchan is a branch monastery of Wat Nong Papong, so it is a monastery in the lineage of Ajahn Chah and Ajahn Mun. And I returned to the United States in February of 2023, stayed here at Empty Cloud in the spring of 2023 for about 3 months, and returned in mid-May of this year, spending the Wasa, or rains residence here, of which we're roughly halfway through now at this point. Been doing a number of guided meditations, which are still up on the Empty Cloud and Buddhist Insights YouTube channel. So you can always find those there anytime you want to do a guided meditation. And see, I've already adopted my meditation posture for this evening. It's quite traditional to sit cross-legged, as I am, on the floor. Although you also could sit on a meditation bench with the legs folded under. This is quite common as well. Many people find these helpful. You could sit in a chair if you like for this meditation, or you could do this meditation in a standing posture. So, as you like. For the sitting meditation in a cross-legged posture, for those of you who are new to it, we have the broad mat that I'm sitting on, and then a smaller cushion behind. And the easiest way to sit cross-legged is with one leg in front of the other, like this, so that the legs are not touching each other. Not crossed. If you are more flexible, then you can sit with the legs intertwined, kind of as I am. Sitting in a chair, you'd want to sit with the feet flat on the floor typically. Standing, perhaps standing with the feet flat on the floor, about shoulder width apart, or a little bit less than shoulder width apart. And the hands you could place on your knees or on your thighs, or fold them in your lap. A very traditional pose for the hands folded in the lap is to have one in the palm of the other, with the thumb tips touching. And I'm looking off to the side for a moment because that's where my computer monitor is. As you can see there, the laptop. And seeing a message on it that I'm going to take a look at. Okay, it's indicating that it's having trouble streaming to Facebook, and so if any of you are trying to watch from Facebook, I guess you can't see this. Something I'll have to attend to, I suppose. I or Bhante Sudaso later after the stream. I'm not familiar with how to deal with that. All right. And so, yes, again, going over the meditation posture, I'd gotten to the hands in the traditional hand posture. The Buddha images are often depicted with his hand postures when he is in what they call samadhi pose. Samadhi being concentration. Supportive of being relaxed, but also alert. You keep your thumb tips touching with the thumbs arched. All right. And this also can be done even in the standing posture with the hands held just slightly lower than the navel, perhaps. All right, then we'll get started into the guided meditation now. And so if you'd like, you can close your eyes. That's quite traditional. If you prefer, you can have your eyes open. And gaze in an unfocused way at the floor or at a wall, perhaps. Something like this that won't be distracting. And perhaps I should also apologize or mention that there's the persistent sound of a cricket here in the room where we are. And I don't know if that's coming up on the microphone, if you can hear that. It's audible, but persistent sound of a cricket in the room, so we'll just have to practice perhaps with a distraction if you can hear that. And so I may talk about that during meditation as well. And then I would like to ask you to imagine that you have a cord attached to the top of the head, stretching up to the sky or up to the ceiling, gently drawing you into an upright position. And so you may feel your head lift a little, and your neck straighten, and your upper back and middle back. And rotate your pelvis forward just a little bit so that your lower back curves in somewhat, as this is a very natural position for the lower back, that is for it to be curved in just a little. And then we'll move our awareness around to the front, in the abdomen. And be aware of the abdomen and the sensations in the abdomen. If it's helpful, you can place one hand there to draw attention to the abdomen. And notice how the abdomen feels internally as well. And allow any tension there to relax. And we want to dwell there, in the abdomen. Experiencing how it feels. And allowing it to relax. Okay. We want to linger there for just another moment. And see if you can notice even to the very pit of the stomach. Noticing how it feels. And patiently staying with it. Perhaps with some compassion. Allowing it to relax. And allowing any tightness there to slowly unclench. And then I would like to ask you to notice your breathing. And see if when you breathe, if you can imagine in a very light way, your breath going all the way down into the abdomen. Perhaps with your awareness in the abdomen, imagine receiving your breath there. And as the breath enters the abdomen expands, relaxing outward. And then as the air leaves the abdomen contracts very gently, and the air rises out. This may take a little practice, but in any case, it's an exercise in mindfulness and being with the body in the present moment. Allow the breath to enter the abdomen and the abdomen to expand, and then, if you can, notice and allow the breath to fill the upper body as well. Having reached the abdomen first, then we feel the rest of the torso filled with air as well. And then contracting the abdomen in a gentle way. The air exits the abdomen and then rises out of the body through the torso. And so slowly we become aware of the breath throughout the upper body. And the breath rhythmically and gently in a relaxed way. Entering and leaving the body. The body inflating slightly, gently and comfortably, and then deflating as the breath exits. And the body is nourished by this air. And we can take steadily deeper breaths as we like. And may even allow the body to sway slightly, to rock a little bit back and forth. As we nourish our bodies with air. All right. And then we allow the breathing to settle into a natural rhythm. Perhaps still allowing it to go all the way down to the abdomen. But allow the breathing to become more natural as it settles into a natural rhythm. And then we'll pay attention to the head and the face. And we'll notice how they feel. We'll experience any sensations in the head and in the face. And start to discern if there are any areas that are tight or tense or uncomfortable. And gently bring our sense of feeling there to one of those areas. And be with it patiently. Experiencing how it feels and allowing it to relax. And then you can see if there's another area that is tense or tight or uncomfortable. And experience, perhaps with some compassion, how it feels. And allow it to relax too. All right. We'll take just a few more moments in this segment of the meditation. See if there's any other spot you'd like to pay attention to. Perhaps the forehead, or the temples, or the eyes. Just notice how they feel. And allow it to relax. Allow any tension or tightness there to unclench. All right. Now I notice, as someone wrote, that the cricket is quite loud in the microphone, and so now we will turn our attention to the sound of the cricket itself, with that same quality of mindful awareness. Simply being present with it. With some patience. Noticing that this is simply some sound. And just as we might be mindful of the breath when we meditate, or mindful to stay with the theme of love and kindness when we meditate, or whatever other kind of meditation theme or object we might practice with regularly, we can use that quality of mindfulness with the sound. If we notice any agitation in the heart, any emotions, or any thinking about it, we can notice that. Notice it and let it go, just like we notice the sensations in our bodies and allow them to relax. And then return to the sound. The meditation object that this cricket is giving us. If we notice that the mind is wandering, perhaps thinking, we can notice that. And if it helps us to be mindful of it, we can notice thinking, 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 to help us be mindfully aware of it. Until the thinking either stops or the mind loses interest in it, and we can bring our awareness back to the sound at the ears. This contribution that the cricket makes to the world. And see if we can just hear it simply as it is. as an exercise of mindfulness and experiencing reality. And with this, if it helps to have the mind stay with it, you can notice thinking, hearing, hearing, with the sound, hearing, hearing, to help the mind stay with it. Now you can stay here with the sound of the cricket's music, if you like. Or if you find that the mind has lost interest in it and you're growing calmer, you could segue, perhaps back to mindfulness of the breath. Perhaps noticing it right in the middle of the chest. Or as the exercise we were doing before, noticing the breath going down to the abdomen and then filling the torso. And then you may settle on one area, such as the chest or the abdomen. Or you could stay with the music of the cricket. If you segued to practicing with the breath, and then notice that you're distracted or disturbed by the sound, you can simply observe the sound again with your mindfulness as before. Perhaps noticing again, hearing, hearing, hearing. And so in this way, you can practice your meditation as an art, with the objective being maintaining a calm, mindful awareness, whether it is of the breath or of the sound. Perhaps transitioning from one to the other as the interest of the mind changes. Trying to remain alert and aware. We'll practice in this way for a few more moments, perhaps a few more minutes. And somewhere in there I'll say something about bodily discomfort or pain. Now, if any of you are noticing some bodily discomfort or pain that is distracting you and disrupting you, then you can make that the object of your awareness, just as you might do with the sound of the cricket. Simply turn your awareness to that area that's uncomfortable and be gently aware of it, patiently aware of it as an observer. And you also can notice in order to help your mind stay with it. Feeling, feeling, feeling. And then if it passes, or if your mind loses interest in it, lets go of it, then you can return to the sound or to your breath as seems appropriate. But if you find it overwhelming, or if it's too difficult to stay with it because of the sound also, having so many objects, then you can consider moving. Be aware of any interest and intention to move, to adjust your posture, for example, to relieve discomfort, or scratch if you have an itch, for example. And then mindfully be aware of the movements as you slowly and mindfully move and make adjustments. And then mindfully turn your attention back to the sound or to your breath. If you notice any thoughts arising or emotions, then become aware of them. We don't have to think about them or get involved with them, but rather be an observer. Perhaps notice thinking, or feeling, and allow them to go their own way, to unwind and dissipate. And then see if you can be mindful again of the music of the cricket. Or if it feels more appropriate, the breath. And if you're settling in with your breath and would like to be more attentive to it, you could try counting. 1 on an in-breath and 2 on an out-breath, 3 on an in-breath, and so on up to 10. And count in sets of 10 this way. 1 on an in-breath, 2 on an out-breath, 3 on an in-breath, and as I said, so on up to 10, counting in sets. Okay, we'll continue practicing this way for just a few more minutes before I draw the meditation to a close. Or perhaps say a few words on Dhamma as we meditate. So I would like to encourage you for the next few minutes to try to be keen in your awareness, alert. If you notice the mind drifting, become mindfully aware of it. If you start to become drowsy, perhaps open the eyes a little bit if they're closed. Maybe take some deep breaths and call forth your energy. And now we'll segue back to noticing the sound. And gently imagine the cricket that is making this music for us. And wish the cricket well, thinking, may you be happy. May you be happy. May you be happy. And then think or imagine in an easy way all crickets and think, may all crickets be happy. You don't have to try to imagine them all, but simply thinking of the idea of all crickets. May all crickets be happy. May all crickets be happy. May all crickets be happy. And then thinking of the idea, may all beings be happy. You don't have to try to imagine all beings, but just thinking of the idea of all beings. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. And then perhaps think of your favorite kind of animal. There's dogs or cats or deer or birds, or whales or whatever it may be. And just thinking of the idea of that kind of animal, think, may they all be happy. May all dogs be happy. Or may all birds be happy. Continue generating that wish gently. Feeling that goodwill in the heart. And perhaps think of a particular animal you've known, or you know now, who you really cared for, or liked. And think of that one animal. May he or she be happy. May they be happy. May they be happy. And then think of all people. Just the idea of all people. And think, may all people be happy. May all people be happy. And then think of someone whom you admire. And think of that person and think, may they be happy. May they be happy. May they be happy. And then think of someone whom you like or care for greatly, but not romantically. Perhaps a relative or a friend, and think, may they be happy. May they be happy. And notice that feeling of goodwill in the heart. Thinking of this person you like. And thinking, may they be happy. And then think of yourself. And think, may I be happy. May I be happy. May I be happy. And try to stay with this theme for another moment. Thinking, may I be happy. Then we'll think of all beings in the final section of this loving kindness meditation. Just thinking of the idea of all beings. And may all beings be happy. 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 And think of yourself in that as well. May we all be happy. May we all be happy. May we all be happy. All right. Please stay with that theme for another moment. May we all be happy. All right, now we can raise our hands, putting them together palm to palm in front of the heart, feeling the contact of the palms together, and the emotions of gratitude and respect for the meditation. And then slowly lower our hands again, very mindfully. And open our eyes if we've had them closed, and notice, how do we feel now? Perhaps compared to when we started the meditation. And we can mindfully adjust our posture if we like. And we have about 15 more minutes that we can go on this live stream, and so if you'd like to ask any questions or type in any comments, I'd be very interested to hear what you all have to say or ask about with regard to this meditation. And perhaps I'll say a few words about it as comments or questions are coming in. An unusual meditation, not what I expected to do coming in, although I try not to have too many expectations. And just go with the flow of how things seem to be going. And I finished up the evening worship service here at Empty Cloud Monastery with its meditation and chanting, ending at about 7:15, and had a few things to do before coming down to the live stream area, and then discovered the sound of the cricket, and heard how loud it was in beginning the meditation in the live stream, thinking about it and how we're going to proceed with the meditation, and learning from one of the participants that the sound could be heard over the microphone and was very loud actually, and so I thought we could take this as the object of our meditation after some preliminary calming exercises, getting in touch with the body. And this is a tack we can take in general with our meditation, that we don't really know how it's going to go or what's going to happen. If we have some fundamental skills in place, we can use those. And remembering that the goal really is mindfulness and developing skillful mental qualities, skillful qualities of the heart in response to whatever is happening. And so we try to develop some level of calm with the awareness of the body and the breath, and then turn our attention directly to the sound of the cricket, and noticing it simply as a sound. Sound is something that can come up anywhere, really, in life, and in surprising places. Even in the quietest of meditation halls, sometimes we can find noise. I remember being in a meditation hall at a monastery in California, and it could so usually be so quiet, so peacefully quiet. Sometimes it was so quiet it was conducive to falling asleep, and so it could seem a little bit too quiet, really. But oftentimes in our meditation we long for quiet. And in fact, quiet can be so conducive to meditating. And it's highly recommended to seek a quiet place to try to develop your meditation skills in. But even in that very quiet meditation hall in this very quiet monastery, every once in a while we could hear a goat. It must have been somewhere between a quarter mile and a mile away, but its voice could carry into the meditation hall. And even the practiced meditators sometimes can be quite disturbed by this. I remember one monk joking afterward. He said, "It's surprising how it can affect you, just the sound of one goat," he said. Sometimes you'd be sitting there in meditation thinking, if that goat keeps disturbing my patient's practice, I'm going to go over there and kill him. And of course he was just kidding, he was joking, because he would never do that, but still these kinds of thoughts could cross the mind. You could become so frustrated over just the sound of one goat, Of all of the problems in the whole world, we could become so frustrated and upset about the sound of just one goat, in the distance. And we might have found, it sounded like at least one participant did find that the sound of just one cricket could be so disturbing, so distracting. But if we turn our mindfulness to it and experience it just as it is, for what it is, it makes such a difference. Just like being with uncomfortable sensations in the body, we find that when we turn our attention to those sensations and we allow them to kind of unwind and relax, if we allow ourselves to be with patiently a sound, then we find actually it becomes so much easier to be with than it initially seemed. And if we experience it just as the reality of what it is, then we have the opportunity to learn about reality, to experience reality. And in fact, that's what awakening is all about. All right. Let's see if we have any comments or questions coming in. Oh, how about that? Okay. Getting some positive comments. Miguel saying thank you for the meditation, and Mike saying the meditation was very good. The cricket helped quite a bit with focusing on equanimity. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. A comment from James. In parentheses, Apicano. It's a Buddhist name. Sadhu Anumotami. I love the Ajahn Chah approach. The distractions, in this case crickets, are our teachers. So true. We should call them Ajahn crickets, or Ajahn mosquito, or Ajahn pain. That's so true. Wonderful, yes, wonderful comment. Right. I had thought of another Ajahn Chah teaching with regard to sound, that he once was meditating in a very secluded spot. I think he'd found an abandoned cabin or shack somewhere in the jungle, is what it was. He was practicing all alone, he noticed that in the distance there was a sound of a PA system, a loudspeaker system, playing music from the local village. And he was trying to practice his usual meditation, but also noticing the sound. And he noticed that if he was able to focus on his meditation object, then he could go into concentration, and then he didn't hear the sound at all. But if his mind slips and he lost his mindfulness with his meditation object, it might go out, and then he'd hear the sound, and it might be troublesome. And so he practiced it this way, going back and forth for a while, and he learned something about sound. He later taught his disciples. He said he realized that it isn't that the sound is coming in to bother us, it's that we go out to bother the sound. This is a different way of thinking about it. It isn't that the sound comes in to bother us, it's that we go out to bother the sound. And so when the mind is actually in samadhi, and very well collected in samadhi, it doesn't go out to get involved with external sense objects. And that's a very natural state of mind, is concentration. Although very few of us are as advanced meditators as Ajahn Chah, that we may experience that regularly. But still, it is a natural state of mind that we can't access. And so we can look at it that way, that actually it isn't really that the sound is coming to bother us, but the mind's going out to bother the sound. If I can be with the sound mindfully, as we were doing this evening, then we experience it less and less as an annoyance or something bothersome, and just simply as a sound. And if we become even more advanced in our meditation, then we may even be able to bring the mind completely in, and it won't even hear the sound at all. This would be beneficial, perhaps, for developing vipassana practice and going further and further in vipassana. Or if the mindfulness becomes very, very continuous with the sound of the cricket, then even that could become a vipassana practice. And we could even start going through the learning stages known as the vipassana jnana, or insight knowledges. And so the cricket, just as James is saying, could become our teacher in this way, if we take it that way. And we have a Miguel sounding his approval of this. Thank you, Ajahn Crickets. Wonderful, yes. But so this is one way of practicing. We take the situation as it is and we try to turn it to our advantage using our meditation skills. I want to add that really it is advised to, if we can, to go to a quiet place to try to develop our meditation skills. And so Ajahn Chah did teach to this as well. He said, it's good to live in a quiet, secluded place, because then half the job of meditation is done for you already. It's so much easier to make the mind calm. So he did teach this way as well. But if we find ourselves in a noisy situation, then we don't complain about it. And we simply turn our skills of meditation to that and use it to try to turn it to our advantage. And we have a question from Alex. What life forms accompanied your meditations in Thailand? Okay. So yes, there are so many. It's remarkable to be back in the United States and hear so many fewer sounds. At least in the areas I've been in, staying in New England. I remember this from my life in America before going to the subtropics. Living in Arizona and living out in Silicon Valley, for example, that so many fewer sounds than there are in the subtropical jungles. And so here we have some insect noises, like we have the crickets. If we live in the city, of course, we have so many sounds from traffic or so many, the whole buzz of life, in the cities. In the subtropical jungles, though, we hear so many more insect noises. And we might even hear owls relatively frequently sometimes of the year. They were in Ubon what they call the night owls, and you would have no idea that there were so many around you until a small number of them would start their hoot. Hoot, 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 hoot. And then a chorus would rise up. And you'd be so surprised to find there must be 30 owls within a 100-meter radius of the cabin you're staying in. And so you hear this tremendous chorus of hoot, 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 hoot. And it might last for a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and then they slowly quiet down again, and then pass. And then you'd hear the buzzing and the chirping of the insects in the forest, and occasionally you would hear another common fixture in the subtropical jungles, which was the toucan. The toucan is a lizard. By most people's standards, quite ugly, but it's actually just, it's all subjective, of course. But they are probably at most probably about this long with the tail, and they make a very loud call from time to time. It sounded like their name. It was named after the sound. Toucan, toucan, toucan. Very, very loud and quite disturbing. And until you become used to it over time, of course. And so it would make this sound, and one meditator, after a while, commented she was a lay meditator who went on retreat to Thailand, at Wat Mapchan in Rayong province, and she said, because she was trying to focus on the meditation word Bhuto, 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 Bhuto over time, Bhuto, Bhuto, that she started to hear this in the call of the toucan. And so instead of hearing this toucan, 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 she heard it as Bhuto, Bhuto, Bhuto. And so even this was converted to something of use in her meditation. Oh, and James is in Phoenix. How about that? Yes, I grew up in the Phoenix area. I was born in Mesa and raised in Glendale before my family moved when I was 14 to New England. And so, greetings to you in Phoenix. All right. We've reached the end of our live stream time. Very nice to read your comments. Hello from Chile. Wow. We have meditators from all over the world. Wonderful. And there are many more, as I'm sure you're aware, many more guided meditations on the YouTube channel at Empty Cloud or Buddhist Insights. The YouTube channel has many guided meditations. Just go there and search on guided meditations. And we have more live streams coming up tomorrow and Friday, both morning and evening. Bhante Sudaso will be leading a Sutta study live stream on Friday morning, and then Friday evening we have the monk chat, and there are more Sutta studies tomorrow morning and tomorrow evening. I don't know the names of who's leading them, I apologize. And then of course in-person programs, anyone on the weekend, anyone who would like to experience what it's like to follow the monastic schedule and deepen your practice can also consider coming to Empty Cloud to be a lay guest. The information about applying for that is on the website. We do have rooms available in the near future and in the midterm as well. And so perhaps consider that. And so I'd like to anumotana your practice. Perhaps we can all anumotana together by drawing our hands together and rejoicing in each other's practice by saying 3 times sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Someone typed in, long live Empty Cloud Monastery, here, here, here. I agree with that. And until next time, may you all be well. Good night, everyone.